This was very interesting, and this is why I had to specially request CJ to be on this show.
Yep.
Because I knew CJ was going to give me a good talk with this, whether it's we debating about to tear each other's heads off or we're going to be agreeing. But Nelly, would you consider Nelly a legend?
Oh my God, that's a strong word. He's second ballot Hall of Famer.
Second ballot Hall of Famer. So
yeah, he ain't getting in that first go round.
So he's not a legend.
But but the second go round, he'll get inducted in there. He'll be in there.
Wow. Y'all let me know what, because CJ just said Nelly's not a legend. Do y'all consider Nelly a legend? I'm not gonna give my take on it yet. I'll ask you about that after. Remind me after we get off of this.
Okay.
So Nelly said that his era was the toughest era in rap. Now he's talking about the 2000 year 2000 all the way to 2010. Now I got the video of when he said this. This short real quick. This is fair use, by the way, fair use. Let's see what Nelly had to say.
Coming from the Lou, did you ever have chip on your shoulder because everything was LA, New York? We always talk about that with the Midwest, man. Like,
goddamn right.
Yeah.
Goddamn right. But you got to understand, my era of music was the toughest era in hip hop ever. Ever. When I put out songs, I had to go against DMX,
Eminem,
Jay-Z, Eminem, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, Luda. All of us are fighting for one spot. So from 99 to like 2008, 10, it's the hardest era ever to get records.
All right. So y'all heard that. Nelly stood on 10 toes, said it with his chest, the hardest ever. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, CJ, let it rip. What you think about that?
He was on to something until he mentioned all the way up to 2010. Because let's be very clear. Nelly's run ended in 03.
Give him 04. Give him 04. 04. 04.
04 was Sweatsuit.
Sweatsuit.
Okay, fine. I'll give him 04. 2000 to 04, the end.
Maybe 05 because of Grills. Grills was a big hit. Come on, we officially
05 is the max.
That's
the best I'm gonna give him.
05. All right.
So I will say that era was top heavy. It was top heavy because if you look at the stars now, we say the same three.
Yeah.
We say Kendrick, J. Cole, and Drake, and everybody else. Everybody he named was platinum out the gate every time, and you could possibly throw Ja Rule in there if you want
to. Absolutely.
It was some stars. Hell, even Pac was still going platinum in the early 2000s, dude.
Biggie too. The Biggie duets,
all of that. This shit still did numbers, bro. So he had to go against niggas that weren't alive and people that were getting beat. So he's right about that. I will say, if he would have said from 2000 to 2005, okay, cool. Trying to slide in 08, 09, 2010 was nasty. But I'll give him props. It was top heavy in 2000, 2005 because everybody in name was doing numbers. Everybody. Those were stars. DMX was a household name. Eminem, obviously. Jay, obviously. Those were household names. Now, Wayne, it might have been a little early for Wayne in terms of how we know Wayne to be.
That's what threw me off of that. Keep going.
That was a little early, but everybody else, he could have just swapped him out for Ja Rule if you really wanted to. And that would have been on point. Now, he right. And then T.I. came, T.I. blew up around 04, 05-ish. The competition was thick. So that's a fair point. I will give it to him. We're just going to cut it from 2000, 2005.
Okay. My take on it, even though you don't want to count the later 2000s, I would have to throw Wayne in. If he's mentioning Wayne, we have to include the later 2000s for sure. Jay-Z was still going strong. Nas was still out there.
True.
Lil Wayne's prominence, you know what I'm saying? Now Nelly fell off, but
absolutely.
If you're talking about 2000 to 2010, and that's right before the new generation kind of came in, before ASAP Mob, before Drake. Well, Drake came in 09.
2010. Yeah. But we didn't know what it was going to be though.
Yeah, exactly. But before that whole wave, and then you got to remember, Jeezy came out in fucking 05.
Kanye.
Yeah, exactly. So thing is, I feel him. Now, the reason I wanted to discuss it was because B-High, shout out to B-High ATL, him and Wicked were talking about it. And Wicked tried to make the argument that Nelly don't know what he talking about. The 90s was the toughest era in rap. He said the 90s because he named Tupac, Outkast, Nas. He was like, all of the people he was naming, a lot of them got their start in the 90s, right? Now let's think about it. Let's look at, we talking about Wu-Tang, we talking about Bone Thugs, we talking about Eminem came out in the 90s, like late 90s. Snoop, Master P, all that. Now, this is my argument for you, Wick. I hear what Wick is saying, but and Tupac was alive, all that, right? Hip hop wasn't as commercial as it was in the 2000s to where niggas was going platinum off the gate, out the gate. Like you said. Now, I mean, I get it. Tupac was a household name in 96.
Absolutely.
Biggie, Bone were going quadruple platinum. However, they set up the playing field for the 2000s to come when there was started to be endorsement deals. Hip hop had made more money than ever. You know what I'm saying? At that particular point, the 90s set up the 2000s, but you got niggas going platinum, like 50 Cent and Eminem were going platinum before they could even damn drop the album. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent was a superstar household name before the album dropped.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's when beefs really helped create album sales. That's when the sales battle happened between 50 Cent and Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Competition. That was the first time you heard really about sales battles. Who was selling I think at that time in the 90s, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're a little older than me. So there wasn't that many niggas besides like Tupac and a couple other people who bragged about, hey, we're going quadruple platinum, in the 90s.
Right.
It was a thing, but in the 2000s, your whole thing was SoundScan, what your position was. Like, it was more of a business in the 2000s. And like I said, man, you would even want to switch up your release date. You know what I'm saying? Niggas didn't care about release dates and shit back then. If Bone and Tupac dropped the album, it wasn't no competition to see who was going to sell the most. It was just about, we drop it right now. It may not have a high first week, but the shit is going to sell 6 million records later and some stuff like that. So I think the 2000s was the toughest era from what Nelly was talking about, the early 2000s up until 2010, because it was a lot of competition. And he was talking about the A team. Let's talk about the B team, CJ. Jadakiss, Fabulous. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All of them were throwing up numbers.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And and I looked at it at that time with rap. It was compared to WWE. You had the heavyweights, then you had the Intercontinental US champions, right?
Yep.
Jadakiss, Fabulous, those are like the Intercontinental US. And I feel like Lil Wayne was even at that point.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Until he blew up. T.I. was at that point.
True.
You know what I'm saying? But even at that level, niggas was going platinum, at least 1 million.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the thing. When Wicked talks about the 90s and he's like, man, Outkast and Goody Mob and all that, yes, for sure. They were dope. Were they vying for the #1 spot in the 90s, bro? Were they?
No.
Like, no, bro. They weren't. They were dope for sure. They weren't vying for the #1 spot. Nigga Jay wasn't vying for the #1 spot in the 90s. Nobody bought Reasonable Doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that's what. So you can't say that there was competition in terms of talent, but in terms of household names, who's going to get this number? Who's the king of this shit right now? It's more names in the early 2000s, bro. I ain't gonna hold.
Yeah, it was a plethora of artists, and that was the golden era. And I'm not taking it because that's my favorite era, but the 2000s get slept on because I'm talking about R&B, rock, like that 2000, 2001, 2, 3.
Yeah,
that was a great ass time in music before streams and all that. And like it was heavyweights everywhere. I remember somebody was dropping like No Limit. It was like No Limit all over again because Fabulous dropping this month. The same month Jadakiss dropping. The same month Ludacris dropping. You look at every other Tuesday, it was a big name dropping.
Yep. Yeah, bro, it was back to back to back. But then you had like the rise of Rockefeller. So like you said, that B team is Beanie Siegel. There's cats like that everybody's looking forward to.
Dipset was coming up, man. Like, come on, man. Then Lloyd Banks, because 50 was the heavyweight. Then here go Young Buck. Here go Lloyd Banks. Here go The Game. Come on, man. And you like niggas were moving their release dates. Oh shit, Jadakiss about to drop. I got to move my because I want to make sure I get a position on there.
I think the 2000s, I think Vince Staples might have said this. I think he said the 2000s giving the 90s a run for its money, like the early 2000s. And he kind of got roasted for that. But on the low,
you, I mean,
2000s was kind of, hey, we naming off we naming off a lot of people's favorite rappers right now that made their name in the 2000s.
Yes, like In the Club came out 20 years ago, but it still goes. There were classics being made in the early 2000s. Like, and I'm talking about timeless. Now, don't get me wrong, Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick, a lot of they got classic songs,
absolutely,
question. But the massive singles, a lot of them motherfuckers were being made. You had Pharrell in the Neptunes, and Timbaland was in his bag. Like, bro, you had Swizz Beatz, Missy, like everybody out at that time. You remember during that time also the producers were just as big as the damn rappers.
Lil Jon,
like it
JD,
used to be Jay-Z featuring Nas. Now it was Jay-Z's album produced by Timbaland, or you know, this song produced. Like, it used to be that point. Like, it would be an independent artist album that's dropping, and they say, well, his first single is produced by Lil Jon, and that made niggas want to go buy the record.
100%.
So, man, that early 2000s was a different beast. Now, the 90s, of course, I say is the golden era, my favorite era. But also, I got to look at the 2000s because that's when I was growing up. I was a kid in the 90s.
For sure.
But I was going to the store buying shit was in the 2000s.
Let's be honest, Tupac and Biggie make the 90s though. Like that they're the two anchors they're weighing the 90s down. Like, because those are the arguably two of the greatest. And then Nas and Jay, even though they weren't fully formed, that helps. But those are literally everybody. Those are on everybody's top 5. It's
Snoop and Dre, like
that too. No, nothing for sure.
Death Row, like Death Row, like the record labels. Like there was like shout out to Rockefeller, shout out to all those other labels in the 2000s. But synonymous with hip hop culture, you're going to think of Death Row. You're gonna think of Bad Boy and No Limit Records,
Cash Money.
Suave.
If you want to go, we can go B-side, Suave House. We can go rap
the B team, Suave House, Ruthless, bro. Like that was. So it was so much there. Different. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just the game shifted, like Wu-Tang. Like, come on, man. You just had Mobb Deep. Like you come on, man. Like the colossal figures were the 90s. The 2000s was the birth of what
the star.
The
star, bro.
The star power. Like, it was insane. You know, and to be fair, Outkast were there at their peak in the 2000s.
That's true. That's more competition.
Yeah.
That's when they were doing Diamond and shit.
Right. In the 2000s, right? You know, like, to be fair, when I was growing up, like, Outkast was, I mean, they were out, but they weren't like on a massive level like they were in the 2000s. Like when Sorry Miss Jackson and all that shit came out, that shit was out of here. But Elevators was dope, but it wasn't like the whole world was singing the shit.
Yeah, no.
Like, come on, hey y'all.
If you know type.
Yeah. That's what they were at first. Their rise came more so in the 2000s stuff.
Facts.
You know, and then also 3 6 Mafia. We can't forget them coming out in the damn 90s. You know what I'm saying? But they popped off. Their biggest peak was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, shout out to the 2000s, but I agree with Nelly on that one. He wasn't capping, you know what I'm saying? Now, you say he's not a legend. Why is Nelly not a legend?
His run was too short, bro. He let me say his run was short, but his impact was pretty great during the time. It's just that his run was too short. Let's keep it a buck. No, did people really how much is his talent and his skill set respected in hip hop when people go, man, my favorite artist is Nelly? Like, nobody really says that. We respect it. Was it catchy? For sure. It had a moment. He definitely put St. Louis on the map without question. That's cool, but nobody really took him that seriously, though. Really.
The after effect. Yeah. At first, like when he was there, living in the moment, Nelly was the shit. I want to be like
that. Yeah, he was huge. But bro, you didn't get no Vocal sweatsuit, bro. Like, you ain't getting.
I had the Vocal sweatpants. Yes, I did.
Wait, hold on. I might have had the hoodie. I might have had the velour joint.
Come on, man. Now Nelly was on another, but I feel what you're saying. Like
I might have had the velour joint. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, Nelly was impactful, but
true, he was.
Put it like this:
he was in nobody's top 5, bro. Nobody said Nelly's in my top 5. No one said that, fam.
Yeah, but after I think what it was is that after Nellyville or Sweatsuit, whatever the case may be. I never wanted to hear another Nelly. I wasn't like, man, Nelly needed to drop something. You know what I'm saying? Versus like, and then Ja Rule, nah. But after a while, I wanted to hear like Nas. Nas came out in the 90s. I still will listen to a Nas out. Nelly don't even sound right no more. He just put out a joint with JD and Ashanti, and that shit was ass, bro.
Yeah, like, there you go. His shit didn't age the best, and it expired quickly.
His style did. His music still goes. But the style of what he okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So shout out to Nelly, man. Let's go ahead and dive into something.